This is the second video in the CLAM demonstration series. In this video we will continue to build on the work we started in the first video. In the first video we created a web service, and now we will expand upon that same web service by adding some extra abilities. We go to our service configuration file by opening it in our favorite text editor. Go to our working directory and we open the configuration file we created previously. Recall that we were making an application that a web service to make frequency lists on the basis of tokenized text documents. In the previous web service, what we made was we had one input file, and out of that one input file we created one single frequency list. Now we are going to expand the web service to allow for multiple input files and one single combined frequency list. So in order to do so, we need to alter the profile definition. Here we see we have the tokenized input template, and it has been set to unique, meaning that only one can be uploaded. We are going to change this to allow for multiple files. We do this by setting multi is true. Now each file, for this input template, multiple files can now be uploaded. On the output side we retain one single frequency list, which means that we will make one frequency list that is the combined frequency list of all word occurrences found in all files uploaded by the user. We are actually done already with the frequency list file. We save it and we go to our wrapper to adapt what we have. The frequency list wrapper is here. Okay, what we do now is we have multiple input files. So here, let me see where we did this. Okay, here we got one input file. Now we want to get multiple input files. So we change this method to the input files method, and we are going to iterate over it for each input file in the input files with input template tokenized input. Okay, since this is Python, we need the indentation here. The output frequency list we will give a default name. So that is something we need to change in the service configuration file too, by the way. We give it the name, well, just frequency list will suffice because there can be only one. We need to adapt the service configuration file accordingly. Here we were working with an extension which was based on the original file name inherited from the input template plus the added extension frequency list. Now we have a fixed file name, just frequency list, and that is the only output file. So we save our service configuration file. We move this up here for yes, it's easy. Okay, we see here that we concatenate over a single file. We are going to make this a list of multiple files. So input files. We are going to add this variable. We are going to initialize this variable here. Input files is an empty list, and then each time we find an input file we add it to this list. Input file path is the full path to the file. So this will be a list. Here we need a string, so before we get to this stage we convert the list to a single string as such. This is basic Python syntax. So that's all. We now have a web service which can take care of multiple input files and generates one output file. Okay, so now we're ready to see if it all worked out. We're going to start the web service. So we grab our terminal and we start the web service in the usual fashion. We specify a host and port name, which will launch the built-in web server, and we specify the module which contains our service configuration file. This is the following. We press enter and the service has been started. So we can go to our browser and navigate to our web service. Okay, here it is. We start a new project. We call it test. And we're going to add the Hamlet file which we created in the first video. So this one, if you recall, it was a piece of to be or not to be. We are going to demonstrate that you can upload multiple files. So we're going to add another file. We don't have one on disk ready, so we are going to use the live editor to add another file. Here's the live editor. Let's add something. A simple hello world will do. We indicate again the input type, which is the input template, and we give it a small name and add it to the input files. As you see, both files have now been added successfully. Okay, the next step is to launch our web service and create a frequency list. So here we go. The system is running. Okay, takes a while longer. Let's refresh it. Okay, we see that the system has completed, and the result is a frequency list. One single frequency list. If we look inside it, you will see that it contains the frequency calculation over the words in the combined files. We see here hello from hello world, and we see world from hello world, and all the rest is of course from the piece of Hamlet. Okay, so this concludes our second video in which we expanded the web service with support for multiple input files.